Answer this question for me. If you never received another pay rise in your entire life, would it be enough to A, live your current life comfortably, and continue your lifestyle for the decades to come? It's an important question to answer and technically ask yourself for a few reasons. Let's dive into why. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese, and in today's video, I'm breaking down the mindset that you should be getting yourself into each time that you start to earn more money through different streams of your income. Throughout your life, the amount of money that you earn should technically and theoretically increase as you get older. You might be working your way to the top at your current job, on your current career path. You might be spending countless hours on a side hustle that's basically going to allow you to earn an unhealthy amount of money in the future because of the prospects that it potentially has if it booms. Regardless, in these avenues, which most people fall into, you are going to see pay increases over time. Now, let's touch on what I asked at the start of the video. On your current salary as of right now, are you able to pay for the bare necessities? If the answer is yes, you are probably living within your means. Excellent, keep that in mind. Of course, your current process could be probably a little more relaxed or a lot more strict, but the specific point that I'm trying to hone in on here is that you can currently live your life as it is with the income you bring in. So with that out of the way, what does this mean for your future? Well, realistically, it means that as your income goes up, things that may not be achievable as of right now will become achievable or obtainable. On top of that, you will probably be able to start saving at a faster rate and probably achieve your goals in a shorter time frame. The exciting part of it is that you might be able to afford bigger, better, nicer, and newer things as well, and probably have a little bit of extra burner cash to just spoil yourself on with unnecessary purchases. Realistically, that's going to come to mind as your pay goes up. Here is where I step in. Now, if you followed this process where you got those pay increases and then spent that money willy-nilly, you would probably live a really comfortable life and have everything you've ever wanted. It would probably still be a absolutely acceptable and fine lifestyle. Yeah, that makes sense. But what I'm going to try and go through now is a mindset that I really think you should consider trying to adopt, especially now in the earlier years, or it doesn't matter when you start, but the sooner you start, the better it's going to get for the long term. You might yawn, and this might be the point in the video where you go, okay, I've had enough, but stick with me here because if you try it, it might be the thing that allows you to relieve yourself of some financial pressures that arise in your future years. The habit is essentially future-proofing. A real-world example is my favorite example. It's me. Who would have thought? Realistically, in the last 5 years, my life and lifestyle has not changed that much, but my income has basically doubled. Truthful, it has basically doubled, if not more than doubled. I have taken on some new expenses, but none that would add up anywhere near to the amount of money that I'm now earning. Knowing that this would potentially happen and that my lifestyle wouldn't take these massive steps at the point that I'm currently in my life, knowing that down the line I will have some pretty big expenses come on board, I started building this mindset, started building this process so that each time my salary bumped up a little bit, I followed a very specific set of rules. So here's the process that I've put in place to basically accommodate new income, but to still make sure that I'm planning for the future. Firstly, I'm mentally prepared. I didn't just say, no, there's no way that my salary is going to increase. I kind of realized that in the career path that I'm in, my actual drive to start a side hustle and try to earn income on the side, I realized that at some point I would be falling into different pay brackets which were above the current ones that I was in. So what I did was, on a piece of paper, I wrote down a few scenarios to essentially map out what I would be looking at roughly between now and the next, let's say, 20 years of my life, if things went to plan. This planning ahead allows me to put in place the steps that I'm going to follow when that money does come on board to allow me to manage it accordingly. It also sets the expectation, and this is very important, it also sets the expectation that that money isn't just going to be extra spending money from day one. It makes it so that I've already put a set of rules in place so that when it does come in or start to come in, I can just follow that plan without having to go through the time warp of, or the brain thoughts, we're sticking with it, the brain thoughts of me going, oh, but if I take a little bit extra to buy XYZ, I just straight away go, no, it is purposed for this reason. That's what I'm using it for. And I stick to it and it pays off in the long run. The simplest way to explain how I do this is I keep my percentages the same as to how I break up my weekly wage, or I might increase one specifically, like my big savings account. I might put a little bit extra in there, but I have it planned out how I'm going to break it up, especially once I know what that new number is going to be. I can ballpark it, but once I do know that new number, I from day one will stick to this plan of, okay, instead of putting 50% of my wage into my big savings, it's going to be 60% now because I don't need that extra cash for anything else. What this essentially means is that if I was going to bring in an extra $200, say, every week, which is a lot of money, that's a significant amount of money over time, that's thousands of dollars, if not tens of thousands, if it's consistent. I would take a larger portion of the 200, let's say maybe 80%, to put towards the accounts that are saving for specific goals. And then I only allow myself a little bit of extra spending money, but I still allow myself extra spending money. I've earned it. So it's still great. It's a win in every way. I'm just not spending all of it on unnecessary purchases. The other main reason that I do this, and I end up putting a little bit of extra money away for other purposes, like I put more into my bills account than I need to, is again, it's future-proofing for future expenses that I know are going to come on board. A great example is if I'm going to have a kid, it's estimated that within the first couple of years of you having a kid, it's going to cost you about $15,000 a year. It's not an insignificant amount of money. Realistically, I'm already set for that life experience when it does eventually happen when it comes to finances, because I'm putting enough money away to basically account for that expense, which realistically, I'm not even accounting for my partner potentially coming on board with another salary to basically play with. This is just from my own perspective. I am able to support this expense. And it's not specifically for the kid. It's just the idea of basically future-proofing means that when I eventually get there, my life doesn't change. Everything stays the same. Everything's sweet. I live comfortably. And that money that was put away for that purpose is now used for that purpose. Whilst I continually put money away for that purpose because I've built the habit. I've put in the hard work to discipline myself, and my way of life is just my way of life now. It's easy to live how I live because I've worked hard at developing this mindset. My favorite part of the video here is where you say, but Reese, what's the point of putting all this extra money into a bank account and just having it sit there for no purpose, just kind of piling up over time and time and time and time? It just keeps, what's the point? Like, you've got all this extra cash, do something with it. And I have an answer for that. I do. These are the years where I can build this habit of putting that extra money away without having those expenses. But with that money, I then take it and I do things like invest it. I'm heavily investing into the share market and cryptocurrencies and real estate. I'm diversifying my portfolio and I'm putting extra cash towards things that will potentially, but should basically return a large sum of money to myself in the future years. The return on investment should be good based on the things that I'm investing in. And you can go check out videos I've made on what I'm investing in. If there are any that are relevant, I will link them in the description below of this one. But my point is that I'm actually utilizing that money for a good purpose other than going away on a holiday that I don't need to, or pissing them away on drinks on a Friday night. Food for thought. Just understand that I'm utilizing the money for something good whilst also building the habit of not treating it as spending money. And finally, if you've made it this far, this is the most important part of the whole video. I like myself as a person. I do not let money dictate who I am as a person. I do not allow money in the form of pay rises and bonuses change who I am as a person. I live a very simple lifestyle. I do enjoy the little things. I do enjoy some, I'll call them splurges. I do spend my money on some things here and there, but realistically, 99% of my life is just your generic, everyday, normal life. And I find enjoyment in the little things. I want to be very, very clear. And I think it's something that everyone should try their best to adopt. And it is that I will never let money change who I am as a person. I love money. I love chasing money. I love making money. And I love doing things with money. But I will never let it change me as a person. I think it's so important for people to understand that, is that when you get to this point of pay rises and making fat stacks, you do not need to change who you are. You do not need to go out and buy Gucci and designer brands and new cars and the biggest house you possibly can. Do it if you want, but you don't need to. And that's one thing I want to make very clear, is that this habit, this discipline that I've basically ingrained into myself, allows me to continue my life whilst enjoying it to a higher level, but at a moderate pace. And that will continue as I get older, but realistically, and most importantly, is that I do not let it change me at all, because I'm used to it. Every pay rise now, that money is purposed for something that will benefit me in the future and still benefit me today, but it will not change me. To wrap up the video, I just want to say that adopting these mindsets have really put me in a great mental health position when it comes to finances. It's put me in a great just general position when it comes to finances, and I can see the benefits that it's going to bring me in the future. It is something that was not easy to put myself into the position. It took hard work, it took a lot of time, it took a lot of planning, but I took it one step at a time, and now I can safely say that I'm now at the point in my life that any extra money that comes in is a bonus. It will allow me to save faster and achieve my goals quicker, but at the age of 26, I think I'm doing all right. It's not a brag. The point is that you can do it too. Take one step at a time. I'm trying to encourage you, and after the amount of videos that I've brought out by now, hopefully you will have gained some motivation, some insight, and potentially started to put these suggestions into practice, even on a small scale, because it will compound over time. Overall, I hope you learned something in today's video. I hope I got you thinking about what I've been talking about, treating new money that you come into, in a way that basically sets you up for your future. If you did enjoy the video, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does help the channel grow. And as always, I will see you in the next one.